Tell us a little bit more about duty to accommodate for employers when it comes to medical cannabis.
So the duty to accommodate is probably one of the more complicated areas of what we do, of labor and employment law. There's not really a formula where, if this then that, if that then this. The duty to accommodate's got to be very individualized to the certain circumstances that you're dealing with. There are things that the duty to accommodate does and doesn't mean. The duty to accommodate doesn't mean that you have to tolerate an employee being at work under the when they're not fit for duty, when they don't get to just smoke marijuana at work, for example. And that's particularly true in safety sensitive workplaces. That's seen, the potential risk is seen as an undue hardship. If an employer is faced with an employee who says that they've got a medical prescription that they need to use marijuana in connection with some sort of a medical condition. So you see sometimes it's oils to deal with arthritis, or smoking marijuana to deal with glaucoma, or the list is really endless. You don't need to have that. That doesn't mean that person immediately gets that authorization to use marijuana whenever and wherever they want during the workday. But what you've got to do is you've got to sit down and you've got to do an investigation into this, and you've got to see what it is that you're dealing with on an individualized basis. An important thing to remember is that the duty to accommodate is a two-way street. Employers bear the lion's share of the burden, but employees have obligations too. They need to come forward with a request for accommodation, they need to provide information necessary, and they need to accept what is a reasonable accommodation. You can't hold out for the perfect solution. So I think one thing that I would typically be asking about, if an employee says, I have to use CBD oil or I have to use marijuana because of condition X, I'd be saying, okay, well, where's your prescription for that? Who prescribed it? What else have you tried, if anything? If you haven't, why not? And you go down that path of just gathering information. You try to get as much information as you can, and then you make a decision. And the decision might be that the employee is off work, that they're put on a medical leave of absence, or the accommodation might be just that we can't accommodate you. This is an undue hardship in our workplace, so we're sorry, but that's it.
Yeah, it does sound like it's very case by case specific. So if you have a specific situation with an employee that you are curious about, we encourage you to reach out to Brandon and his team at Roper Greyell to discuss it a little bit further and make sure that you're fully compliant.
Absolutely, yeah.